All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you are listening to this. Thank you for coming back to the Unpopular Black Gamer channel where we are talking all things Star Trek. And we are starting off with a brand new series where we are rewatching all of the Star Trek series, starting from the original series. And as always, I am accompanied by my boy, my friend, my road dog, who's been with me since we were just kids. Patrick, say hello, Patrick.
Hello, everyone. And yes, we are not starting a rewatch series because it's football season and it takes a little time to research Strange Trek. We're not doing that.
We are not at all doing that. No, no, no,
Not at
no,
all.
no,
Not at all.
no, not at all.
I mean, the Lions in Kansas City are in a good one right now, but I don't know that because I'm here recording and I'm focused.
Oh. So you got that game up while we're doing this.
I mean, you've been to my place. You know I got multiple screens.
I should have did the same thing, but like all my screens are focused on this broadcast. So
Well, you carry the production heft for real. Like I just have to show up and make sure my microphone is broadcasting to the internet.
that's true.
You
That is
got
true.
you got everything else from there.
Well, we are starting the unpopular we rewatch series, starting with the original series. So this is a series that both me and Patrick have both acclaimed that we only saw it when we were younger and probably seen some episodes between now and when we were younger and don't really truly fully remember all the episodes like we should. So this is exciting because not only are we rewatching the original series, but we're getting to see how the production value and how things were back in the '60s of them creating this Star Trek franchise for the very first time. And of course, we're starting off with the original pilot, The Cage. Uh, and then, of course, next week we'll be discussing the second pilot that they created. So,
Oh wait. Are we gonna? Okay, so this is the perfect time to have this conversation
mhm.
because I in Paramount Plus the second pilot is episode 4
Oh,
of TOS.
really?
Yeah.
I didn't even see that.
So yeah, so there's a couple of episodes. Yeah, because it's weird because it's the Man Trap comes after this, which I think is the first episode that ever aired. Y'all don't come at me if I'm wrong about this, but I think it's the first episode that actually made it to television for people to see. And then there's
Interesting.
another episode, and then there's Where No Man Has Gone Before, which was the second pilot, because everyone's uniform changes. Kind of weird in the middle, and then it goes back to regular uniform. So like,
So that's what's going to make this rewatch more interesting now, because there are certain things that, as storied as I am with a lot of Star Trek lore, um, the original series lore I don't know a lot about because I've never did like the digging into it. So this is going to be interesting to do that digging and like learn why they did this and did that because I mean, we uncovered with the cage. They showed they only showed this episode to the higher ups, and they were like, "Oh hell no, this ain't gonna work. We need to create a new pilot because we need more action in it."
right. hmm Yeah, that's what I remember. I can't remember what I was watching where they were talking about the start of Star Trek, but they were like,
Mm-hmm.
"There's not enough action in this. We want to see more action." Now, why he takes out his own wife from the series, Majel Barrett, the voice of the computer, and Loxana Troy
Mm-hmm.
from the series. Why he puts in William Shatner instead of Jeffrey Hunter, who Hunter plays Pike in this episode. I don't remember why all that happened, but he made like a bunch of changes because I think the main thing I remember from people talking about the fact that Star Trek got a second pilot is that I think even to this day, like second pilots are like never ordered.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
once you blow the first chance, you never get a second chance. So I think it's special that Star Trek got a second pilot, and I guess maybe he was just like, I'm gonna pull out all the stops,
And I
and I
And I would be remiss to not point out one of my favorite shows called Firefly. I don't know if you ever watched that, Patrick, but
I haven't watched it. I've heard of it though.
yeah, created and directed by Josh Whedon. Probably one of the best series that only got one season that I've ever watched.
Mm-hmm.
But their original pilot episode, Fox didn't like. So that ended up making them show the episodes out of order, which
Mm.
messed up what Josh Whedon was trying to do with the show. Like it's crazy how much the network uh, they put their hands on the creative direction of something, and it's just like that wasn't the direction that we were trying to go. However, it worked out in this case with Star Trek, the original series. So a lot of the changes that they made were actually better, and I do want to point out some of those things as we go along with this particular story.
Yeah, yeah. And eventually, this original pilot, and I can't remember this episode name either. Obviously, I didn't do any research, not because it's football season, but I, just want to be off the cuff here, right? But they obviously show this episode within another episode. I think it's like a two-parter later on where Spock takes. Because I mean, we've
I
talked
wonder
about
if
this
that's
in the
the
Strange New World stuff.
menagerie.
I think it is a menagerie,
I know that's
but
one of the main episodes that I do remember.
yeah, Spock goes and gets Pike, who's in the beep chair, and takes him back to this place. And he hijacks the Enterprise to do it and
Yeah,
faces a court martial. And they basically end up showing this episode um, on air, and that's the way they had to do it to get this episode out because there was no way to do like you couldn't just drop it on YouTube back in the '60s, right? So it I I will say I am happy to be a fan of a series that has this complex of a start to it. To be honest with you, like it makes it
and
feel
it
so
actually
solid that Mhm.
worked out because
Yeah, exactly.
you it seems like if something like that happened now, where you had an issue with the pilot and the network ordered for another pilot to be created, it almost seems like the death nail in the coffin. So
Yeah, probably the most modern equivalent to this is Ryan Reynolds leaking the Deadpool test footage
mm-hmm,
onto the internet
mm-hmm,
and it actually getting the Deadpool
mm-hmm.
movie approved. That's probably the closest that we've come since how Star Trek began.
That's probably the best thing of pointing out when it comes to how out of touch a lot of the executives are within these studios because they always think like, oh, that's not going to work out. But like we had that Deadpool situation that occurred, and he just posted it out on YouTube. It's just like, hey, this is what I showed the higher
Right.
ups of YouTube, and then it exploded, and everybody loved it because it was so on point. It
hmm
was Deadpool, and you had a lot of people say if the higher ups don't know that this is something that would be gold, they don't deserve to be in the positions that they currently are in.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that. And as a business person myself, a strategist, I'm honestly always kind of baffled when I hear stories like this because I'm just like, your business is creativity, and yet your first impulse is to stifle creativity
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't look like what
Mm-hmm.
something else that made $1 billion look like. And it's like, well, it's not creative if it looks like something else. So like, yeah, it's strange to me. And in Hollywood, I've learned from friends of mine that have worked in Hollywood can be quite what can I say, hierarchical, I guess
Mm-hmm.
is the word, where like they really trust the top persons, usually a guy top guy of a certain race,
Mm-hmm.
intuition, and because that intuition coming up from the bottom to the top, that's what they tend to trust. So like they don't get a lot of outside in views on things, and so
Yeah.
yeah, I just think Hollywood can just be like as a business can be like its own beast where it's like people think they need to just follow each other, but they really need to do something different. And then when something different hits, then everyone's trying to follow that. It's so weird.
they tend to overthink it. It's almost like they do the same thing in gaming as well, where it's like a certain gaming genre takes off, and so now every game has to be made like this game in order
Mm-hmm.
for they to feel like they're going to make profit off of it. When you would, if you just allowed a lot of the studios to create their vision of how this game is supposed to be, a lot of times it's going to come out to where it's a great game.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3 is probably one of the well, there are others too, but like Baldur's Gate 3 is probably one of the biggest ones in my mind that I could think about that's happened recently, where there were people that felt like that something like that would not be as profound as it was, and then it ended up winning Game of the Year.
Right.
It's it's
Well,
funny.
and Astrobot, which is a game that I love, and I still need to beat the latest levels that have come out like 6 months ago.
Hmm.
That was just the controller test game that was pre-installed
Hmm.
on the on the
Hmm.
PlayStation 5, and then the follow-up to Astrobot won Game of the Year as well. Like they had no idea that they had a hit on their hands.
It's funny how if you just allow the creative process just to work, a lot of times it could come out to be a really great whatever series, game, whatever we're discussing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry about
What
that.
was that?
That was apparently when I say series, uh, my Apple computer think I'm saying Siri.
Okay, so that's what. Because part of me was wondering, like, does he have an organ that he's saying? Are we about to be preaching in a,
No, you
in a
heard
minute
the
here?
little the ding noise.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So
That's gonna make the original series rewatch a little bit difficult. You might need to set that thing out in the hallway.
well, I might need to just like turn off the whole voice activated part on that on my tablet because that's what's connected to my whole system here to be able to do some of the sound bites and stuff that we do.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So, but
Yeah, so I'm totally with you.
mhm.
I think you made a great point there. Yeah, I don't know what to do about the business of creativity.
I mean, there's not much we can do there. It's just they're they're gonna do what they do and thinking that
They're
they
gonna do
know
what they
better than
do.
everybody.
Agreed. Agreed.
I mean, we see how like things are going on with Marvel right now, and how a lot of they got to a point where they thought that they knew every better than everybody, and not really listening to how the audience feels about certain particular characteristics. Granted, like we don't want to point out the audience that's just like very sexist or racist. Those people can, for lack of a better term, lick a
Okay. Oh, we're too early for you to finish that.
yeah, yeah. I
We're
can't
too
finish that
early in the
right now.
recording.
Like we'll be flat. We'll be flat. I
Yeah,
normally
I know this is.
I, I normally save that for like an hour in.
Gotcha. I know this is wildly off topic, but they
Uh-huh.
have spent so much money on Doomsday. Well, like they've spent so much money that they think they're going to make $2 billion off of Doomsday.
Oh
That I'm actually kind of
no.
nervous on it. Like the money they've given Robert Downey Jr. and the Russo brothers and things like that. I'm kind of like, it's like
Hmm.
this is. I almost wrote a blog about it. I might still write a blog about it, even though I haven't been blogging much or blogging at all year. But I heard what's the name of that channel? I think it's Movies with Mikey on YouTube, and he went through like how much they are paying these people, and I was like, oh, that's not good. They think this movie's gonna make $2 billion.
Oh no. Oh
Like that's not good.
no.
Yeah,
This is gonna be a crap show. At least I feel.
yeah. I mean, we'll see. Maybe they're right. Maybe just having RDJ out in the marketing, people will be like, I feel like most people who came to see these movies will be like, oh, but Iron Man's in the movie. Okay, that's cool. And then he's not being Iron Man, like, and then
Yeah,
you don't get that second
yeah.
weekend bump that you gotta have. Yeah, I'm a little concerned from a business perspective.
But they know
A little
everything though.
freak,
They know everything though.
a little free strategy consulting for the folks at Disney there. If they, if you want my full analysis, I'm gonna need you to cut a check.
We gonna yeah we gonna need to get paid for that if you want the full breakdown of that.
Absolutely.
Well, let's go ahead and get into the episode. So we're starting off with the original pilot. It's entitled "The Cage," and it was very interesting. But I'll definitely allow you, Patrick, of course, to go through the recaps of everything. We'll try to be as brief as possible, but you know how our talking can get a lot of times.
How we can get sometimes. We don't think this will go 2 hours, but we'll keep it moving. A lot happens in this episode. Okay,
Yes.
so one thing I want to say off the rip. This is the first time I've watched this since
Mm-hmm.
Strange New Worlds has been out,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody, well, not everybody, the three people in this episode that are in that show have so much depth to them now that okay, I know that I don't think Una is named as Una in the show.
No,
She's named
just number
number
one.
one, or
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna call her Una through this. So like, if you guys are like, am I blending Strange New Worlds and this episode? Yes, I am.
Probably
So
yes. That's just,
so right off the rip, Pike, Una, and Spock, and I have in parentheses, and I guess that's it because there's no Ortegas or anything like that. And I was expecting them to be there. I don't know what to say. I
I
know they're
kind of
not, but
was too, or like something to be said about them.
right.
I do want to point out one thing that they probably could do in Strange New Worlds that would make sense for this, but I'll point that out when we get to it. Go ahead.
Okay. They encounter a radio wave on the bridge. I don't know if that's like really sci-fi tech talk, but it's a radio wave. The wave is coming from a ship, I think that's called the Columbia, that got lost in the TOS system 18 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Pike, hearing that these people might be alive, is like, whatever. Let's keep going to the Vega colony. And Spock and Una are like, okay, but look at each other like, WTF. Like, why are we not investigating this?
I will say to Pike's point, they did just come off from it sounds like a really terrible mission where a number of people passed. So he was already bogged down from that mission of losing so many comrades. So he was just like, "Hey, we need to get to the star base to get medical assistance for those that need it, and probably some shore leave for a lot of people that need it, because we went through some crap."
Yeah. And he brings that up. You bring up a really good point, though, by pointing this out. This is not the Pike that we have
We
gotten to
know it of.
know.
Yes,
This
yes,
happens before they even show up in Discovery.
yes.
So, like, this is Pike, like, I don't know how many years into his captaincy or if he's just a brand new captain. I don't know where it fits, and I'm not going to look it up, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm just not. If you want to look it up, Dante, you can look it up if you want to. But for me, it's more fun that there's a bit of mystery. I just know this is way back. So this is not Captain Pike that we're getting.
Yeah.
So he's not as solid as he is.
This is very bare bones Captain Pike, and we don't get and you get this throughout the episode, that you don't get the charismatic Captain Pike that we are used to, even from Star Trek 2009 movie series. Like,
Yeah.
you don't get that style of Captain Pike. It is definitely a different style of him, and
Yeah.
of course, this the very beginning. So the actors are trying to figure out like how this character is really supposed to be and how they're really supposed to react to these particular type of situations and everything. So
Yeah.
it is. I would have loved to see how they would have done Pike if they would have kept going forward with this cast. So I do feel like it's kind of hurtful that they didn't, in a way, but we got Strange
I
New Worlds
agree with
from it
you.
later on. So
Yeah. Because Jeffrey Hunter is not bad
no,
in
no,
this
not at all.
episode.
Not at all.
Like I kind of rather like him. He's in command. He's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Like he gives a very captain presence. At some point, maybe we'll look up why they moved away from him, but maybe he just wasn't Kirk or couldn't play Kirk. But like I like Jeffrey Hunter in this, and it's kind of interesting to think about the alternate history that if this pilot hit, Jeffrey Hunter would have been the captain. We would
Yeah.
have maybe never even known who Will Shatner was, and it would have been kind of altering, right? Because I don't think Jeffrey Hunter is with us anymore. So like Will Shatner is with us. So yeah, it's a weird alternate history to think about.
And there are certain things that I do want to point out. Like, okay, first off, the intro, if you could call it that, because it was really only like 10 seconds, really. There was no space, the final frontier, da 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 da.
No monologue.
None. But it was,
They did do the top end view
yes.
through. Hmm.
And they did the original music as well. So I'm curious to see when that became a thing, when they started out space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of Starship Enterprise, da da da.
Oh, that's a good question.
I'm curious to know when that became a thing. And now that you even pointed out, like, oh, like as far as order is concerned, number four is like the original pilot, and episode two
Right.
isn't. So I'm just like, well, darn, like,
You would think the next one up would be the second pilot, but no.
you
We
would
get two
think,
episodes.
you would think,
And the 60s must have been wild. Like, I don't
and
want to go back to the 60s because of segregation, but, it must have been wild.
and I do want to point this out. I truly want to point this out. So we are watching the original series where it was filmed in the 60s, and the 60s were definitely totally different than what 2025 currently is. So there's going to be a lot of sexism. There's probably going to be a lot of racism. There are going to be things that's going to be said, and you're just going to be like, "What the hell did they just say?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, and we got that a number of times. At least I got that a number of times through this one episode. That I was just like, what did he just say? It's like stuff that I just completely forgot. Uh,
Yeah.
so
Point that out.
I would be remiss to not point that out. And then also from this scene, I thought it was weird that they were getting a head-on collision warning with nothing being in front of them, and it just happened to be these radio waves. So
Oh,
I
I
thought
missed
that was
that.
weird.
It. So I don't know how much of this episode is writing sci-fi in the 60s and it's just
Mm-hmm.
weird
Mm-hmm.
and they don't understand they don't even have Google to help them try to even understand the science of what they're talking about, right? So
Yeah.
they're just kind of guessing at a bunch of stuff versus like how early in the episode were the Telosians messing with their mind? Because in Star Trek
Good
Discovery,
point.
the
Good point.
Telosians can mess with you from a very long distance.
Yes. Yes. You have a very good point. Okay. Okay. I'll definitely put that in mind. I took it as this is the 60s. This is the first time that they created a series like this, so they're like trying to like figure out the direction of what these days are going to be said, because they didn't say warp speed in this. They called it hyperdrive. Like, I don't know if you caught that.
I did not catch that.
Yeah, I caught that.
Amazing.
That was later on in the episode that I have in my notes. So like there are certain things that are not consistent with how TOS will eventually be from this pilot episode, because they're just trying to figure everything out.
I thought at some point he did say we're going warp factor 7, but maybe my brain just
They
said it just
I don't think he said
make
warp. I believe he said a factor of seven.
oh no, I Mandela affected it.
I mean, you could be right. You could be right. I'll have to go back and re-listen to that. But as I'm remembering it, he he expressed to the whole ship, "We're going to this place at a factor of seven."
That is probably what he said. The way you said it like actually sounds like what I think he said. And I think I wrote in my notes warp factor 7. I just filled it in just after watching
Because we
so
know
much
it is
Star
warp
Trek.
speed. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness. That is wonderful. This is going to be a great rewatch series. I love
Oh
this
man.
already.
Oh man.
My other notes here is I said honestly, I'm gonna say how I originally wrote the note,
Hmm.
and then I'm gonna say what I revised it to. It is automatically weird to see these characters played by the original people, and then I went back and added except for Spock because it's Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, because Lena Ray.
But
Yeah.
also it's weird not to see
Yeah.
Anson Mount, Ethan
Yeah.
Peck, and Rebecca Romaine doing these characters. Like it threw
Because
me off.
we're so used to them, and they've given so much life to the characters. So
Yeah,
it's almost weird. Like, dang, I would love to see them in this particular situation acting this, which makes me
I was.
wonder if they would do something like that in the fifth season of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds.
It makes me wonder. Like I would love a reshoot of it. I know money's not infinite. Well, unless you're. Well, no, I'm not going to get political on a Star Trek podcast. Never mind. Um, I know money's not infinite for production, but I don't know. It'd be interesting. Also, the other note I have here is there's a lot of paper in this episode.
I have that on here too. That is one of my
there's
notes. I said pilot episode uses a lot of paper.
a lot
Uh,
of there's a full on fax machine in this
yes.
episode at some point.
So I put that in my notes to like remind myself of the next few episodes to like see when did they finally transition to like the pad thing that the
Mm-hmm.
yeoman normally gives to the captain
Mm-hmm.
and not using any paper at all. Because I feel like that they do, and but also at the same time, I could be misremembering this.
Yeah, I definitely could be misremembering it because I think both of us have only really seen the greatest hits and then like the
Hmm.
random stuff we watch just to do strange treks. But yeah, I'm with you. So Pike, after deciding, f them folks, heads t- heads to his quarters and calls for the doctor. Hops on his bed. The doctor shows up with a leather case, which has
So
booze in it.
I have to point this out. I have to point this
Mm-hmm.
out. I know this is the '60s, but why does he hop on the bed like that? He hopped on the bed like in a sideways like pose that was just like he's talking to his girl, like trying to entice her to come into the bed. And I was like, why did he do that? This doesn't make any sense.
I mean, you do halfway expect the doctor to be a woman and also maybe be his girlfriend.
Yeah, yeah. And then I halfway expected the doctor to be in Banga too.
uh,
And then
I
when this older white man came in, I was like, who the hell is he? I don't remember him.
I also don't think they ever give him a name.
I was curious about that. I was trying to find his name and I could not find it whatsoever. So
Yeah, I,
I don't. I take it you also stumbled upon that as well, not being able to find him.
well, I didn't search for it. I was just listening like to it during the episode, and I'm like, they just keep calling him like it's almost like Robert Picardo's character from Voyager. Like they just keep
Yeah.
calling him the Doctor. So I didn't go looking for a name, but I don't know canonically if he has a name.
Uh. Oh, I think I just stumbled upon it.
Oh, did you find it? When would they have said that? Okay, wait a minute. If it's from like books and stuff, like that technically doesn't count as canon.
Well, granted, like this is the AI. This is the AI
Well,
pulling it, so we could take this with a grain of salt here. But his name is Dr. Philip Boyce, Boyce.
nobody said that in the episode. This is the
No
only
one,
episode he's ever in.
no one.
No one said go get Dr. Boyce at all during this episode. So I am. Someone probably wrote that in a novel if they're
Oh, it's
pulling it from
on
some episode.
IMDb too, apparently. So Dr. Philip Boyce, played by John Hoyt,
They gave him a name and then didn't use it in
and
the
didn't use it in the
episode.
episode. No.
Okay, doke. Well, I guess I mean I'm not upset, but
Oh no, I'm upset. Damn it! If you have a name, use it. Shit.
and we're deep enough in the episode.
I feel like we're about 30 minutes in, so we're
Okay.
good.
Okay, I'm not going to call him that because no one called him that in the episode, but I
Agreed.
understand that I guess canonically his name is Boyce because his name was. Technically, if it doesn't happen on screen in Star Trek, it's not
It
canon,
doesn't. It
but
doesn't matter. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so yeah, he hopped on the bed. The doctor shows up. He agrees with Pike that we should forget about them people and keep it moving. But I mean, I think he kind of coyly agrees with it just to disarm Pike a bit. And he opens up his little leather case, and there's booze in it, and he makes him a martini.
So they did introduce him like this was one of his boys. Like they
Yeah, they're
have
friends.
they have a really close relationship. He knows him well enough to be like, because he was even talking to him like, "What are you stirring over there?" I didn't ask. This wasn't like I didn't say I needed something or whatnot. I just need you to come in and like talk to me about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And and I was even curious, like, okay, what the hell is he mixing? And then he was just like, "Oh no. Here's a martini. I kind of figured you would want to talk about things, and you're more inclined to talk to your bartender than you are to your doctor." So
Yeah, yeah. It'd be like if you were mine or if I were your ship's doctor. They're like, okay.
yeah,
But no, I don't need the medical tricorder. I need that. Yeah, give me that whiskey case. Yeah, thank you.
and I thought this whole scene was interesting too for two reasons. Um,
Okay.
One, the coat that the doctor was wearing, it looked like just some regular house robe that they decided to put the Starfleet insignia on.
That is true. Now that you mention it, I'm kind of pulling it up in my mind, but yeah, he's not like he's almost wearing like a kimono, like to a certain extent.
To a certain extent, yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
this doctor is very lax in my opinion.
extremely laxed. From
He's
what we
passing
know
out
of Pack right
alcohol while
now.
people are on duty.
And also the oh, what was my other note? So his coat was weird, and then also how how they were talking amongst one another. Like what I said earlier, they seemed like boys and less like, oh, you're the captain and I'm the ship's medical chief medical officer. So they definitely had some history and some type of past there.
Yeah, which to your point, in season 5, it'd be interesting if this character has retired and maybe there's a mission to that like involves him in some way where they add depth to this. Also, if they don't do it, I'm not going to be upset because this is
Yeah,
this is this is a kind of I mean I don't want to call it a throwaway episode because it started Star Trek, but you know what I mean.
it
Like it's not.
kind of is though. If we're looking
Yeah,
at this from a canonical and real life point of view, like this wasn't aired. This episode was not aired. We didn't get this episode until years later when they decided to release it in a and I don't even know if they had this in on VHS. Uh, it was probably like
well,
a Blu-ray.
and it was basically in a clip show in an
Yeah,
episode, which I don't know when we get to it, whether it's later this season or the next season, where Spock goes and gets Pike and takes him to Talos 4. But yeah, okay, this is going to kind of spoil the ending a little bit for me, but like I don't want to call it a throwaway episode because I actually like the episode too. like,
the, the, I would agree with you. The episode is actually pretty good,
yeah,
especially for it to be a '60s type pacing, uh, with a lot of the drawn out scenes that we're going to get a lot through this rewatch, it was still a really good episode.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I know it's Star Trek's throwaway pilot, but I can't treat it like that. They did good work. They did good work in this episode,
Yeah, I would
except in
agree.
a couple spots that we'll get to.
And
But
we will. We definitely will.
so, like you mentioned earlier, Pike is exhausted after an incident that happened on Rigel 7, and he kind of feels like he made the wrong call. And Pike is thinking about quitting. Geez, got a giant typo in my notes. Um,
Yeah, I thought that was
Pike
weird
is,
that he was contemplating retirement.
yeah, I think so. I would, I'm not going to look it up, but I would honestly like some on screen representation on where Pike is as a captain
Hmm.
in this. Like if this is like his first year and he just had stuff go wrong and he's like, okay, maybe this is too much. Like if this is like right after he steps up behind April
Yeah,
to becomes
yeah.
captain of the Enterprise, then it makes total sense to me that like you get out there, your nose gets bloodied for the first time, and now you're just like, okay, maybe I should just go home. Maybe this isn't it.
And
But the doc,
this could be a Pike in because I mean this is good that we actually started watching this after season 3 of Strange New Worlds because we got to see Pike in a different mode by the end of what happened with his love interest Patel. Spoiler alert for those that haven't watched the last episode of Star Trek Strange New World season 3. With Patel going in and becoming the guardian statue for that prison,
yeah,
you could tell like how much things have weighed on him. Like you could
hmm
see it for the first time with Captain Pike within that series that like the issues of command with his life and how things were going to go and all that is truly weighing on him. And
well, and also,
uh
oh,
huh.
sorry, I didn't mean to
Well,
cut you off.
I feel like they can like build upon this by tying in something like this episode or doing a real remake of this episode or even that situation they talked about before this episode occurring because you could also use that as a way of, and I hate to say this, but like Ortegas is not a part of that crew. So what if she passed
Right?
during that mission?
No, no, she can't because all this happens before.
Oh, is this like a before like
This
really
is way
before?
because remember in Discovery they referenced this episode before we get Strange New Worlds.
You're right.
Yeah, this
Oh,
is
you're
not a future
right.
episode. This is way back.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, then I am mistaken then. Thanks for pointing it out.
No, bro. Like I almost watched the. If I had time, I would have watched the Discovery episode where they either go back to Talos 4, but like, is it Vina or Mina? Is the woman that we're going to get to in
I
a few
thought it was
minutes?
Vina. I have it in my notes as Vina.
Okay, Vina shows up on Discovery at some point for some reason, and I don't remember why. They have a whole episode that's about this episode on Discovery,
You're
and
right. I almost forgot about that.
yeah, and I didn't get a chance to rewatch it. I sorry, Unpopular Explorers. I probably should have. When we do the menagerie, I'll probably rewatch that episode. Quite frankly, but yeah, there's a whole episode about the Telosians and stuff in Discovery, and I'm like, oh, okay, so this is way back. So Ortegas is probably not even on the ship, and Bango's probably not on the ship at this
Okay.
point. Certainly Chapel and everyone else.
Okay, I looked up Memory Alpha. Yeah, her name is Vina. Vina.
Okay, Vina.
Yeah, and she is. You are 100% correct. She shows up on the Discovery. Uh, I think well they have it as 2257 was the year of Discovery,
Okay,
and it was the
yeah, I can't
episode "If
remember that
Memory
episode.
Serves."
That episode is really good. I cannot
Hmm.
remember it at all,
Yeah.
except that I knew that it happened.
And I this does make me excited to get to Discovery. Granted, that's going to be like years from now before
You're right. We got a
before
ways to go.
yeah, we got a ways to go
Unless we
before we
start
do know
doing
we
this
get to
like
the
every day, like it's gonna take a bit. Even if we did this every day, it would still take a
it
bit
will
before we
still
get
take a
there.
while. Yes. There are a lot of episodes, especially in TOS. There are a lot of episodes, even though there was only 4 seasons.
It's 30 episodes a season, so yeah,
Wow.
we're gonna have some quick conversations in the future. They're gonna be like 45 minutes episodes coming soon.
Well, let's
So
keep going forward.
Pike's thinking about quitting. The doctor talks him up. In the doctor's defense, I think this kind of makes him like a good doctor.
Hmm.
Also, we need ship's counselors. We need ship's counselors.
We're getting back to that, huh?
Yeah, I just want to say it. I have written in my notes Spock radios that there are survivors on Talos because I guess radio is how they talk across the ship back in the 60s. And they show, going back to the paper thing, they show how like the survivors are communicating, and that's where the fax machine comes in. I have in my
Yeah.
notes received through fax machine. So
Oh,
so the survivors of the Columbia faxed them,
oh.
and
Another thing I wanted to point out with the quarter scene is that when he calls the doctor, he used the communicator, and the communicator doesn't look anything like.
looks janky. I have
Yes,
that in my notes too.
I was like, well, that's the communic. Why does it look like that? And the crazy thing, like I said, been a while since we watched this episode. I don't remember it looking like that.
It looks like they like had like some hot glue or something,
Hmm.
and then like
Hmm.
stuck some stuff in it, and then like added a hinge. Like I don't. It's so janky that I don't understand how they made it.
It
To be
shows how early the
honest with you.
practical effects are in Star Trek. But it's one of those
Yeah,
things. It's just like, okay, yeah, you let it slide because I mean, this is the beginning. So some things are not going to be as consistent, but it was still funny to point that out.
yeah. It is. I noticed that. Okay, and mom, if you're listening, cover your ears. My exact note on this is they really half-assed that communicator.
They literally will put something together, not even thinking
They threw
like,
that
oh,
together at the last minute.
it was almost like the special effects department was just like, well, this is not going to last past the pilot episode. Let me just throw some stuff together. Here you go. However, they
It
did do a
looked.
good job with the phaser though. So
Oh, that's true. I did like the phasers, but man, that communicator, I was like, he didn't even pick it up because honestly, part of me thinks if he had picked it up, it would have broken.
I'm
Like,
pretty sure there was a take. I'm pretty sure there was a take where he picked it up and it broke. So it's just
yeah,
like,
exactly. Somewhere on the editing room floor back in the 60s is a take where he picks it up and it just falls apart in his hands.
G. Roddenberry was just like, you know what? Just leave it on the desk. Just leave it
Just
on
put
the
it on
desk.
the table. So here's my note about Warp, which I don't think
Okay,
happened. They changed course at Warp 7 to go to Talos 4 once they think there's survivors there. Um,
that was a weird transition too. By the way,
yeah, because what I have is the theme music kicks in and a bunch of random conversations happen. Like I don't know
yeah,
what is happening in these like 20 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever,
like
but
they were trying to show the passage of time with them going to warp, getting to this planet, but it was weird.
hmm
Once again, if this had been the 60s and we were watching this, it probably wouldn't have been as weird to us. It probably would have made more sense.
probably
However,
would have been the most mind-blowing greatest thing we've ever seen in our
probably.
life. But yeah, we're in 2025 now and I was just kind of like what's happening? There was more paper in that scene as well.
Yes, there
So,
was. Please get to the yeoman. I got a lot to say off of this one.
okay, wait a minute. Where is the did I write anything down? Uh Oh, wait a minute. I'm missing a yeoman moment because I have a note about the yeoman as well, but I don't think I wrote it down. So
So,
my next
mhm.
note, and let me know if I skip over what you want me to talk about.
Okay.
Landing they need a landing party of six for some strange reason. Like Spock is like only six people can go down. And we can't bring Una because I think Gene Roddenberry hates women, low key.
So yeah, that was after the whole yeoman scene. So
Okay.
remember
So
early in
drop
the
it.
episode, he talked about how certain people passed away from that last mission, and one of them was the yeoman, which I was assuming from the context clues that they were giving us that the yeoman was a man. So now the yeoman is a woman. So when he bumps into her because she's trying to give him the latest report, he starts to berate her, and she's like, but you wanted the report at I
Five
don't know,
o'clock.
yeah, 0500, and it's 0500. Here's the report, and he's like, oh
Which would be 5 in the morning, by the way. So they're night shift.
yes, and he's just like, oh, and then he makes a comment. He has a conversation with Una, and makes the comment of, he's not used to women being on the bridge, and she just looks like, what the fuck did
It's like I am the first officer.
you just say? And he's like,
So
well, you're different. What the heck? What are we watching here? Once again, 60s, totally different time. Sexism was very rampant around this time. So I'm pretty sure at around that time, this would have been something that was just like, oh, this is normal. But man, like, was that madly disrespectful?
I also thought for a second maybe he knows that she's a Lurian, which he doesn't because no one does.
Hmm.
Um, so that doesn't count. I was trying, but I did write in my notes sexist comment number one. like, like here's the first one. It's not going to be the last one. Um, I also noted that he says engage, which
Yeah,
was really cool.
yeah.
And then yeah, I have a note here that says, "Are he and that yeoman?" Uh, I used a word to describe relations that starts with an F.
It's a
And
bit of hanky panky outside of
yeah,
flirt.
because here's the thing about sexism. It's because women make us feel stuff, and because as men we don't like to feel stuff, we like want to control and like push it down and like you know what I mean. Like so, I'm kind of like, oh, was there like a thing happening, and now he's got to like be like, oh no, I don't feel feelings. This is the '60s, so I don't know. Maybe I might
You're
be I might be
are you
reading too much into
I'm
it.
like, are you trying to justify 60s sexism here?
Not at
Like,
all.
where are we
Not
going
at all.
here?
Not a, if I it, okay for all of the internet. If that's
Please
what that
do.
started to sound like, please delete that from your mind because I am not excusing this at all.
I get it though. It's a way of trying to understand the thinking at around that time. Like, granted, like this was a different time. Things were very rampant. Even racism, which we all know, which you should know, racism was a big deal at around this time. I'm going to point this out. I don't know how many times for those that feel like racism was never a thing. It was a big thing along with sexism at around this time. So it's kind of hard for us to even try to understand what people were thinking or how they were at this time because to us it's pretty foreign.
It's pretty foreign. But could you imagine if we had a racist, sexist president in 2025?
Oh, I can't even imagine it at all. Like that
I can't imagine
that's
that at all.
unheard of. Like,
I'm so glad we're so far beyond
we
that
are
that we don't have to worry about
so
that happening.
past that, Patrick. That's not a thing that will ever happen ever again in world history.
No,
Ever.
not even once or twice,
Ever.
non-consecutively. Sorry.
So they do go to the transporter after this.
Yeah, well, he makes a point to leave Una out of the landing party, and
So,
that's where I wrote my note where I'm like, I think Gene Roddenberry kind of hates women. Like,
well, he did make a comment, and I'm trying to remember the exact verbiage that he used. Was like, he doesn't want he doesn't want all the good officers to be going down on this mission. So he needs to leave one good officer, and I'm paraphrasing. And he was basically talking about Una in this situation, and she was just like,
To
"I
your point,
understand."
to your point about it being the '60s, I feel like because especially what we see what Riker does, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like if this was written today, Una would have been like, "That means you have to stay here and I get to go down
That's
because
true.
you're the most
That's true.
important senior officer on the bridge."
That's true. And I would be remiss to point this out too. At this point in the episode, I have like looked at every character that's been on screen. I haven't seen not one black person. Not one.
There is a notable lack of us, especially given what's going to happen
Mm-hmm.
in the next episode,
Mm-hmm.
like where Ahura is surely in the next episode, or maybe she's not. I don't want to talk out of line. I guess maybe we got to watch it. But
I'm
we
sure
know
she
what
is.
this. I know what this series is going to mean to even Martin Luther King Jr. It's just weird in the pilot that they're like, yeah, we're good in the future, but no blacks, no blacks.
Which
We'll
which
let
uh, okay, I know it's early, but
There are 4 lights! You betrayed your uniform!
oh
oh
that last one,
dang,
that last one was a
Candace Owens was in this episode. Oh
that,
sorry, I shouldn't
that
have
last one
said
was a happy accident though. But I would be remiss to not point this out that for us to go in the direction that we went in the later episodes of having more diversity on the bridge, the fact that they had a female first officer in this but didn't have not one black person, not one, not even like the yeoman being black, not even like an ensign or a crewman.
that. I was gonna say, not
Like,
even an extra that just is like walking down the hallway.
yes, yes. They even when Pike was going to his quarters and they showed the corridor, I saw two people walking the corridor in like regular civvies, like no uniform on. They were regular blue jeans and a shirt, and they
I
were
missed that.
white.
I love the details you pick up.
It,
That was
it,
great.
it's crazy how my mind works when I'm watching this stuff. But I'm just like, hold on. And the reason why I found this crazy, and the reason why I'm using this as a four lights moment, is because Gene Roddenberry's vision of this show was to depict how the world could actually be, or even the universe could actually be, if we got rid of all of our prejudices, if we all came together with one clear vision in mind, and there was you don't look at certain things as like oh, you being male or female, or you being white, black, Asian, Latino,
Hmm.
whatever. So I found it weird for your pilot episode that you didn't have not even one black person on there. But like I also thought about it more, and I was just like, okay, yeah, this is the episode that they wanted to give to the higher ups, and it probably would
Hmm.
have been harder to stomach if they had a black person within this episode, or even a black person just on the bridge as a whole, which makes me want to look more into it, like if there was like what conflict was there when it came to uh, uh, um, Ahura being on the
Yeah,
bridge of the Enterprise.
this conversation is definitely inspiring me. This four light moment is inspiring me to because there are books. I think there was one that came out like in the last like 2 or 3 years actually
Mm-hmm.
that chronicles this, and I'd love to know if he was basically like, I'm gonna give you guys all white to secure the bag. Once I have the bag, then I'm gonna do whatever I want. And here's Ahura, here's Mbenga, here's
That
like
is a
here's a
possibility.
Russian dude, here's an Asian dude. We're gonna go crazy here. Like Like, I would like for that to be. I honestly think I feel like we would have known, even as like not historians of the original series. Like, someone would have said that that's what he was doing. But we both are black men. We code switch. We do a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
like we know that like yeah, some fairer skinned folks get it that you gotta switch it up when you're pitching the idea, and then once
Yeah,
you get the idea,
that's
then it
when you can
becomes your
actually do
thing.
what you
So
want to do. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And that could be the possibility of what Gene Roddenberry was trying to do, but that's the crazy thing I want to look at because the second pilot, I'm pretty sure horror was part of it. So and as you said, we could be misremembering as well, and we'll end up getting to that point where we'll discuss this even more in depth. That Ahura Parva wasn't part of that original casting, and then when they got caught their stride, that's when Ahura was added. I don't know fully.
yeah.
We'll find it out as the time comes by. But I would be remiss to not use this particular point as a Four Lights moment.
No, you're right. Because there's also the point where like every time we code switch, every time we try to give comfort to the kind of racist power structure,
Mm-hmm.
like we're kind of playing into it. So like it really would have been a big buck the system moment for him to just have one random black dude in the background or one random black woman in the background.
Even if it was just a crewman, could have been one of the people
Yeah,
that beamed down with them. Like,
yeah, yeah. So no, I think it's a good moment. It will be interesting. I'm really inspired now to try to like go find that book that covers this and like start reading it while we're doing this rewatch to see if that was strategic.
you kind of make me want to think about finding that book and reading it.
Yeah, yeah. If I find it, I'll send it to you. Then
Please do.
we can figure it out from there. But it's it's a good. This is. I'm gonna say something. I think this is your best Four Lights moment that we've had. It is very thought provoking. Because you're right. I'm pretty angry that there was not a black person in this episode
I
at
mean,
all.
as
He
a
pushed.
black person myself, and my name unpopular black gamer, like I'd be remiss to not point this out, to not state that this was something that was a big deal as I was watching this episode. And I put that note earlier in the episode at this point in the episode is when I put that note down. So to me, I was like, I don't think they're going to show any black characters throughout the rest of this episode. And from what I can remember, I did not see not one.
Yeah, unpopular explorers. Drop the comments if we're missing. But I'm trying to rerun it in my mind. I don't remember seeing not one anywhere. I
Yeah.
mean, I yeah, yeah. We're totally deleted as far as I can remember. Honestly, we're gonna get another bite at the apple once we get to the menagerie. I'll just
Yeah.
look up whether there was a black person in the cage or not. But it's. I think you're right.
Okay, we can move on. We can move on from the four lights moment now.
Okay.
I've smoked my piece.
Yeah. Uh, so we got to land without Una, and they beam down into a canyon so that they won't be seen. Once they land, they all of them, or almost all of them, pull their guns and start looking around, which is weird because I don't think we typically do that. Also, there's a dude with like a huge backpack. I don't know what that backpack
I missed that.
is supposed to be doing. There's a dude with a huge backpack
I missed
down
that.
there. If
Um,
you ever
the noise, and this is probably not a thing that like you pretty much remember, but I like my hearing is very acute, so I can hear higher or lower frequencies that most people can't hear.
okay.
So within that part where they showed the first time the transporter, there was this very weird hum that
Hmm.
was going on in the background. I guess, of the transporter initializing. Um,
Is
I
that different from the musical plants? Because they have plants that are
yes,
playing music.
yes,
Okay.
that was different from that. It was like a hum, like a kind of like thing. And when they teleported, that hum went away. So I did want to point that out. I had that in my notes.
Interesting. Okay. I did not hear that.
And then
So good catch. Great catch.
and then to your point with the flowers, this was something that I've always remembered. I remember that scene very verbatim, mainly because Spock smiles.
Everyone remembers Spock smiling. Because that was a big thing when he showed up on Discovery and it was like, I'm still experimenting with my emotions. Everyone was like, oh, that makes sense for why he smiled in
My
the
smile.
cage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not that we need an explanation, but it did provide an explanation. And it's still, I think you said this was 2257.
I
So
believe
I guess
so.
at some point we can construct a timeline of how far that was from the Discovery episode to where Strange New Worlds is today. But we'll do that on a different day. But it does show that very early Spock was thinking about his human and his Vulcan side. Even I don't know even if they even had thought about that being a thing in this episode.
I do remember I want to say it was either a Star Trek convention or probably like a video where they talked about like how Star Trek was back in the day, where Leonard Nimoy pointed out that he was still trying to shop how a Vulcan is supposed to be, and I believe in this episode they hadn't even really defined the name of his species.
Oh, that's funny.
That they defined that later on in other episodes that he's a Vulcan, and but he doesn't fully get the true characterization of how Vulcans are until later within the series. So I'm like wondering when that became more canonized, because even the splitting of the fingers, the live long and prosper thing, was something that he came out with like off bat. Like that wasn't a Gene Roddenberry thing. That wasn't a Burnham, uh, Rick Berman thing. Like he came up with
Hmm.
that off the cuff.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
a lot of how Vulcans are, we can attribute to Leonard Nimoy and what his portrayal of what Vulcans are.
And we've gotten a lot of Vulcans
Mm-hmm.
since then, including the greatest Vulcan ever, Doug. So,
I love that. I love that.
the landing party immediately finds the survivors, and there's a woman there.
And it's just
Um,
one woman with all these old men. I'm like, what in the world is going on here?
One guy walks up and kind of in a very rushed piece of dialogue is like, she was born right about the time that we crashed, which led me to say, and write in my notes, hey, Pike, she's 18. Because Pike is undressing this woman with his eyes, and I'm like, hey, 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 hey,
I
she might
mean,
not have graduated high school yet.
in 60 standards, she was beautiful. Like, let's,
I think in today's standards,
yeah,
especially when she's in the Orion outfit. I mean, we learned she's not 18, but like,
yes, yes.
especially when she's in the Orion cosplay. I don't want to sound like a creep. That's why I said that. When she's in the Orion cosplay, it's like, oh yeah, like this is a attractive woman. So I think that's gonna be a recurring theme in TOS. Like
Oh,
a lot of
100%.
these, a lot of these 60s women are also like very attractive by modern standards in
Yeah.
Star Trek. And I'm sure a lot of these 60s men are as well. So we'll play both sides.
What I thought was interesting, and I know you're getting to this at some point within the recap, was how like these people were here talking to them, telling them everything that was been going on, da da da, and then all of a sudden just like poof, They're gone.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that was before she said she calls Pike a wonderful specimen. And I was like, her?
Yeah, I mean, we've both. I'm still single. You're married now, but we've been like people who have dated. If someone had ever called me a specimen, I'd be like, wait a minute.
I do want to point it out. I would be remiss to not point this out. Today is me and my wife's 11-year anniversary. So
Ooh. Oh, today is?
today is, yes.
Oh, I thought it already happened.
Well,
Okay.
she has allowed me for all men who are married, they understand what I'm saying right now. She has allowed me to do this on today, mainly because we celebrated uh, all week last week, and then yesterday we did it up too.
That's amazing.
So good one.
Well,
She's a good one.
yep. She's a real one. Where do you want me to go from here? Do we keep
So
complimenting Tiffany, or do you want me?
oh no. I'm pretty sure we.
Oh shoot!
No,
Oh, you got to edit that out.
no. That's perfectly fine because everybody's gonna know my wife Tiffany at some point. Because when we get around to doing the rewatches of probably, I want to say of TNG and Deep Space Nine, she's going to join us for some of those because we wanted to get a a female's perspective on not only that, just for me, not only a female's perspective, but a virgin uh, eyes and ears on a show, and just to get. And my wife is very colorful. Y'all will find this out. She, she's very colorful with her language, so uh, I'm curious to know how she's gonna feel about some of these things. I did want to start her off with the original series because it I mean,
Would never have made it past this episode.
we're gonna figure out. Me and Patrick is gonna figure out like that. A lot of these episodes were just like, man, like, woo, like,
Gene didn't really like women, like to a certain extent.
yeah,
Like he was a fan of women for like pleasure purposes, and
yeah,
there's things with him and
eye
Mayfield Barrett, his
candy.
wife,
Mm-hmm.
Nichelle Nichols, and like other, a bunch of other women associated with the show. Not Lucille Ball, apparently, but like there was a lot of his philandering going on. But he had a deep seated, not healthy relationship with the idea of women overall,
You also
and
get a
it
lot of that at the beginning of Star Trek: The Original Series. I mean, not the original, the Next Generation.
yeah.
When Gene is still alive, you still feel some of that within some of the writing that's in some of those scenes. So
Yeah, yeah. Gene was not a fan of women. I'm not sure why or what happened, or if
I'm
it just was the way it was back then
I'm
with the
quite sure it was
patriarchy
the
and
way that
misogyny. But
I just want to say it was the way that it was back then. I don't want to speculate, nor do I want to throw any harsh criticism towards Gene because we don't know. But I truly believe that it was probably just the times.
I can believe that too.
So
Well, pressing forward, I guess, which is all we can do when you're in a discriminated community.
of course. Mm-hmm.
I'm the spiritual.
Start throwing out some Negro spirituals.
That's right. Um, so the landing party finds the survivors. There's a woman that is initially 18, but we learn is not 18. So we save
Spike.
Pike a little bit. And we learn that the away team is being observed by like some weird big head dudes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, the woman draws Pike away from the away team, and he foreshadowed this because that's what happened to him on Rigel 7. He got pulled away from the team, and he gets trapped by the Telosians. The away team, quite logically, just pulls out all their guns and starts shooting at this door with everything that they got.
And
Just
that would be the right thing to do in a situation. So
they're trying to, unless your captain's on the other side of the door, then you might, disintegrate them. But whatever. Uh, the door, the door doesn't break, and then Pike wakes up. I don't know why I wrote these plot notes with so much sass, but anyways, Pike wakes up and he's trapped in a, wait for it, a cage.
oh, we're going back to the title of the episode, The Cage, huh?
He's in a cage.
Oh, that comes full circle there.
There we go. He might be in the cage, quite frankly. Pike is studied by the Telosians, and they are describing him scientifically every way you don't want to be described by people who you think don't recognize your need to be on in existence.
Pretty much like a lab rat, basically.
Very much like a lab rat. And they say the experiment will start. And we cut to the very first ever staff meeting in Star Trek history.
Before you go there, I do want to point out that when they said the experiment would start, I was like, "Where are we going with it? Are you trying to watch them have sex? Is this where we're going with this?"
There's a thing to this episode where
it's
like
weird,
Vina,
ain't it? Yeah,
Vina wants it from someone.
100% wants it. Yes,
And we're risking outright slavery of
yes,
of a human population to make sure Vina gets it. And
Yes.
it's just like, okie doke. No
It's-
hinge. There's no hub. There's no internet to go. You can't set up an adult social media account to get videos of this.
throughout this series, they refer to them as Adam and Eve. Like they refer
Yeah.
to themselves as Adam and Eve. They even say it on the Enterprise. Like it's like this is. Are they going to be watching if they just so happen to mate? Like,
They're trying to get them to get together, and yes, they're going to watch.
100%.
They're 100% going to watch. Like, because at the end, spoilers for the end if you haven't watched this episode. At the end, they're like, well, we're looking for people who have the potential to basically be us at the end of the day, and we want them to be on this planet and build a population and all that stuff. And that's what the Adam and Eve stuff is. But at no point is it like, oh, and we're going to respect your privacy and your choices and things like that. Should y'all get together? It's just like, I 100% believe that.
I got to pull out the voice. No, we're going to watch.
I think they're going to watch. I think there's going to be lubrication available for their
Diddy
watching.
Like, we're pulling out the Diddy oil.
There's going to be some all Diddy. Which is amazing for 60s television, because now that we say that, I'm like, what happened if Pike wasn't into women? Like, does the episode just end like 5 minutes into it?
Quite true.
He's like, hey, my dudes, I'm not into women. And then they just roll credits.
I do like that they did give us a brief history on the Telosians and how, okay, I'm probably jumping ahead because this is probably
Yeah, no, go ahead and jump ahead. Yeah,
this is probably after the first ever crew meeting, and this is one of
staff meeting.
Yeah, staff meeting. Thank you. This is probably like one of 5 sets, 6 or 7, if we add in the planet into the sets. But like on board the Enterprise, I think you only see like really just 5 areas, which is the bridge, the corridor leading up to Captain Pike's quarters, the teleporter, and then the staff briefing room.
Right.
And I believe that's all you see. I'm trying to rack my brain to remember, but I believe that's the only five areas of the ship that they show within this pilot.
And there are hero ships or hero shots of the Enterprise itself,
Hmm.
but I think we're seeing the digital remaster
Yes,
when you can make
yes.
CGI at some point. I'm really curious about what this episode really looked like back in the 60s.
I am curious
When,
about that too, but from what I remember, it looked really, really old school.
really janky. Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
yes, because even the beginning shot where they showed the Enterprise and then they like zoomed in to where the bridge was. Like I love that shot because at least like for the audience that had no clue of what this really is, this is your first time watching it, to see that you're just like, oh, that's where the bridge is because
Hmm.
they zoomed into it. So, like I said, I'm pretty sure we're gonna see more and more stuff like this. Um, but like, yeah, so we got the staff, the first staff mission. They're like, hey, let's blow a hole in that door. Like, we'll use the energy from the Enterprise to help blow a hole in it. Which I thought that meant that they were going to use the phasers from the Enterprise.
We're gonna get to that. Let me get to that.
Please do.
The other notes that I have here is Pike that I left out. Pike refers to the Enterprise as a space vehicle,
I
and
missed that.
I was like, the space vehicle Enterprise. There's someone on the Enterprise that refers to the phasers as lasers, and I'm like, no, that can't be right. And then
Yeah.
the Telosian that they put on screen, who drew that in a staff meeting? Like,
I missed. I didn't even put that in
uh,
my notes. I should have. Now that you said something about it, I'm like, now I'm remembering that. And like, yeah, I should have put that down.
when
Well,
they come back to remaster, please put in an actual picture of the Telosian. Like, they had like not even like police sketch quality of the Telosian. It was just like someone's like random sketch of the Telosians. I'm like, maybe that was Gene's sketch of the Telosians. I don't know.
oh,
Maybe
that would be
well,
hilarious.
that would be hilarious. But they're all like, and this is what they look like, and I'm like, what the? It looks like the dude who used to draw the Far Side drew this Telosian. Wild. The
Crazy.
'60s were
We're
wild.
we're gonna say this a lot. I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, staff meeting, and everyone in the staff meeting understands that the Telosians are dangerously telepathic. The
Yes.
doctor goes out of his way to be like, they could be make us, they could be making us see anything and everything, and what we want to see, what we don't want to see, or whatever.
I am curious to
And
know
to
how they got to that conclusion without, because I felt like at this point there was a lack of like a lot of evidence. You could kind of form this conclusion, but I feel like Star Trek now would have said, well, it seems like they have the ability possibly to kind of give off illusions. We don't know if this is some form of telepathy or if they're using like some form of technology that allows them to create these illusions. We don't know. That's how I feel like the Star Trek now would have done that scene, but they went straight to, oh no, they have telepathy and they've been like duping us this whole time.
yeah, they totally figured it out by the first staff meeting, which, to your point, is never going to happen again in Star Trek.
Yes, never.
I would agree with that.
Funny thing is, watch the
So
next episode have something like that too. Like, damn it, no.
we hope never happens again in Star Trek. Like a little bit more mystery, please. And like the whole reason why they think that is because they're like, these aliens have brains 3 times the size of us, and I'm like, I don't think that means
That yeah.
that you're gonna have dangerous telepathic abilities.
I feel like this is the
But yeah,
Incredible Hulk, the leader, all over again.
to your point, Una decides to blast the door to get in there. And we cut back, and the Telosians have decided to give Pike an experiment based on the Rigel 7 incident, which Rigel 7 looks weird to me.
Right,
Like,
Saturn did look weird, yeah.
why are
And
they so medieval?
what was this Viking looking thing?
Yeah,
That
exactly.
like I was like, the way that they introduced this being and how off screen all you heard was like a roar type. Like I was like, oh, is this gonna be like the Gorn? Are they gonna show the like the Gorn lizard suit right now? And then this Viking came out, and I was like, oh,
It really looks like they made contact with a pre-war civilization,
yeah,
which we know later that they don't do because of the Prime Directive or General Order Number One. Uh, if you're nasty, I guess I don't know however you want to refer to it. But yeah, it's just like, and then in this fight, Pike doesn't have a phaser, which makes me wonder how did he get trapped before? Like what happened on Rigel 7? I'm confused. If these are the enemies on Rigel 7, then why didn't you just shoot them with the phaser if they
I
just
don't
have
I don't think it was a
an
true
axe?
1-to-1 of what happened on Rigel 7.
Okay.
They just created a situation from his most emotional part in his command. And since that was just like the most fresh that we had been thinking about, especially talking to the doctor about, they put him back in that situation and then introduced the girl. Well, not introduce, reintroduce, I should say, the girl as someone for him to protect.
Yeah, they're trying to. We learn later on that the Telosians can't read through intense emotion, so they
I
don't
think she
understand
said
that
primitive. They can't read
primitive
primitive
emotions.
emotions. Yeah.
Yeah, so hate, love, like all that stuff. So they're trying to invoke this in him so that he will study it and like so that they can study it, maybe figure it out. And by doing that, they're like, well, let's put Vina in danger,
Hmm.
and then that will make him feel these emotions, and we can start trying to work through the logic, I guess,
Which
of
he
how these
kills this
emotions work.
thing in the craziest way. Like the
I thought it was amazing, to be
it
honest.
jumps at him and he just takes the pole and like sticks it up so he can so old boy will land on it. I was just like
Well, but before that, he hits him with a sword
with the
throw.
sword, yeah, throws the sword in his back, yeah.
Which I'm like, do people just know how to do that in Star Trek?
Yes. Yes. 100%. Yes. Yes. They didn't
You've been fighting with phasers your whole life, and then it's just like sword throw. Got it.
come on, come
Nailed
on.
it.
I'm pretty sure in the academy you got hand-to-hand combat 101. You have you have weapon combat. That's probably like 102. And then you have like phaser combat. That's like I'm sorry. I'm showing my age here. Not 102. 201. And then and then phaser combat is like 301. That's what you learn in your junior year.
Sure.
And then 401 is
Sure.
putting
Okay.
all that together along with the double fisted
Oh my God. When we get to the fight scene in The Way of the Warrior, I'm going to have some comments.
I just
I
want
love
the
that
music.
episode.
I just want the music. This really all I want.
Oh my
I
gosh.
want the music. And I'm really upset that they didn't have the music in this fight scene. But that's besides the point.
Well, we're going to get to it. We know we're going to get to it. So we get to, Pike gets through the situation, how you described it. And then he starts asking, why is the girl here? Why is Vina here? And there's an interrogation. They try to tempt Pike with this woman. And he concludes that, okay, she's just not real. because he's already concluded what his staff has concluded, that they can mess with my mind. And Pike stops talking to her.
Which is a good way of thinking at that point. Because our power
Yeah,
would have
Pike
been the
is
same
figuring
way.
it out. Yeah.
And
I
then,
agree.
And then after this, then they switched the fantasy to the Orion fantasy, right?
Well, there's a scene before that. Una is now on the planet. She gets to be on the away team
Oh
now.
yeah.
Yeah, the very filler scene that this is. They also brought more than 6 people, so I don't know what the whole 6 people thing was. But anyway.
I took that as they needed to set up this laser, and it took more people to set this up. Because once again, like I thought that they were going to fire.
They
up
also
this
brought
girl
the
with
doctor for
Enterprise.
this.
That makes sense. That tracks. It's one of those things we don't know what condition Pike might be in, so we may need the doctor to look him over. So I would
They
allow that.
they set up this giant laser phaser, whatever, and they have to wear goggles to operate this thing, and they blast the ever loving shit out of this out of
So
this door.
I do want to point out that I'm glad I'm not one of those people that is sensitive to light to be able to have a seizure, because that
You're
whole
not epileptic.
sequence, oh my, like it there were a lot of times that it, like, looking at this really like blinded my eyes, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I'm really glad that I'm not sensitive to seizures. Like, if you are sensitive to any type of seizures, like you want to skip this part, please do.
Please skip this part. Also, what the hell is that thing? Have
I
we
don't know.
ever seen that again in Star Trek?
Not to my knowledge. And then it was apparently the Enterprise was giving it power, but they didn't show how the Enterprise was giving it power. Which this whole part was part of the more confusing part to me of how this laser actually worked.
Yeah, what is it? No one else in Star Trek ever uses something that looks like this. And this is Una's plan A to get into this place.
So, okay,
And the,
okay, I have to give them credit on this, because it probably was one of those days where it's like they didn't have the budget or the ability to be able to show laser beams coming from the Enterprise to shoot this. So they created practical effects of a laser that can be built on the planet that the Enterprise feeds energy to.
I don't give them credit for this. I think this is filler. And the reason why I think this is filler, to spoil a little bit later in the episode, is because later in the episode they're like, "Oh, we can just beam down into the area, into the cavern."
I will
They
point
don't
out
need
more on that.
they don't need to blast this door open if they can always have just beamed into
Yeah,
the
okay.
cavern.
Okay, since you pointed out more, I will say that they did point out the fact that they don't know if even, because the way that they were able to beam down to the cavern is that they locked onto a magnetic source that they assume is the power source on the planet. And one person pointed out was like, well, how do we know this is not Telosians giving us another illusion? And Spock even points out, like, yeah, if this turns out to be illusion, we will be beaming directly into solid rock.
He does, but they've also, so this is just a writing thing. They've also given us the information that it's not solid rock down there. They've also seen them take Pike down there, so they know it's not solid rock down there. So the only danger that they beam into solid rock is if they've actually manipulated their minds to put in the wrong coordinates.
Wrong coordinates.
They
Yeah,
have,
that was the main thing.
they know, yeah, they know this whole time that they could beam into this cave when they do the plan to blast open the door.
I
When they also know that they don't know if they could know that they blasted into the door
I
with the
would
giant
personally
thing that
try to
we.
blast the door. If I was in command, I would want to blast the door down before I even risked us trying to beam into whatever compound that they had below there.
I don't hate that. It does not detract from my argument that this is filler.
Okay, yeah, it's still.
This is filler
I would agree
writing.
with you. It still is filler, because
Yeah.
even the aftermath of all this, it still show. It still looks like nothing happened. Like this did not hurt the door at all.
Yeah. We need to get to a point where they tried to get in once and it didn't work so that we don't have an episode that's only 35 minutes long. Like
Yes,
that's how I
yes.
feel about this scene, especially with the gadget from Star, especially being on this end of Star Trek, however many years later, in 60 plus years later,
Hmm.
and we were like, we've never seen them ever set up a gun this big to do anything. Like
Yeah.
it's filler.
Oh, and also like okay, I know the Ryan scene is after this, and she tries to entice him with that, which he does a. Pike does a really good job at like not even thinking with the other head on this on this scene.
Well, Pike is figuring it out. He's it's weird how with Jeffrey Hunter we can see the Pike that Anson Mount is like kind of
Hmm.
in there. Like he's the leader. He's locked in. He needs to figure out what this is so he can get out there and save his crew. So he knows he's got to figure out whether and like he's realizing, oh, this is mental manipulation.
But this is
Maybe I can ask this woman a bunch of questions. Like it's really good. It's really good stuff from
it
this
really
Pike.
is. But this scene though, it was another sign of sexism, and I it would be wrong of me to not point this out because one of the guys said, referring to Orions, like they actually like to be taken advantage of, and I'm like, what the
Oh,
fuck?
I missed that line.
Oh, that line stood out to me the hardest, and I was like, oh wow. Wow, if you said that at all right now in 2025, you would get canceled so hard. It's so hard.
It's also crazy. It's well, I don't want to say it that way. It's also wild because we also learn in Enterprise that it's the women who actually are in charge
Oh
of
yeah, with the Orion Syndicate.
the
Hmm.
Orion Syndicate, which actually kind of works thematically with this episode because Vina is trying to get Pike to stay. She's actually the one in charge a bit, or at least in like communication with the Telosians, even though they can punish her, which is
I will honestly say
more sexism.
that is
But
one retcon from Star Trek Enterprise that I loved. That they made the Orions like because we everyone always thought that the men were always in control and the women were used as slave objects.
yeah,
And then it turns out like no, they flipped it on its head. Like no, the women are actually in charge, and they use their feminine wiles to entice and ensnare the males of other species into their practically their wealth. They're kind of like black widows in a way.
yeah. Oh, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. It,
Oh, okay. It went
it,
super quiet on your end. You're gonna
my
have to edit
apologies.
this part out.
My my I was just reflecting on that because there are people get upset about retcons in the newer Star Treks, but there are some retcons that are just needed or give you more view into the world of Star Trek into other species, so on and so forth. So like that was one of those areas where it's just like, yes, that's something that I like to see going forward.
I agree. I agree. It is a really good retcon. Speeding this along, because we've talked about this longer than I think we both expected to.
Agreed. Yeah.
So the Telosians are underground because of a war. I mentioned that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how their tech works, and they're trying to do experiments to find a race that can continue their lineage. So it's very much a Noah's Ark thing.
Mm-hmm.
Vina gives too much information about them. The Telosians attack, and then the Telosians want to feed Pike, and then Pike resists, and they punish him, which I think they send him to hell. I don't know what that punishment would
It
otherwise
was
be.
fire, most definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild. How they punished him. And Pike learns that he can surprise him if he uses primitive emotions. They
Namely
can,
anger.
yep, anger and hatred, which means basically our alliance, the Federation alliance with the Klingons means they would always own these fools.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
If it ever got to, we're like, we're just gonna send them in, and we're gonna be done with that. Uh, so they try to get them to fall in love, and they go away from making him protector to the futuristic countryside. We learn that
Mm-hmm.
Pike is born in Mojave, which
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that is exactly, but
The
they're out
Mojave
there with
Desert.
horses. Yeah,
Because
where is that?
they did point out that all this, she said all this was desert, and it's been like pretty much terraformed.
Oh, okay, got
Which
it.
the Mojave
Okay,
Desert, I believe, is in California.
yeah, I know where the Mojave Desert is. When he said I was born in Mojave and I saw that green and stuff in it, I was like, I don't know what this is. So,
Yeah, she
uh,
made the comment that it was. I don't think she used the word terraform, but it was like she just said that it was desert, and they changed it basically.
yeah. Is that where he is in Strange New Worlds then?
I have zero clue. I have zero
Okay.
because in Strange New Worlds, when they the very first episode where they showed his home, there was snow everywhere. So I was like,
Mm.
I kind of, it's kind of hard for me to think that that was in the Mojave Desert.
I know we haven't beaten climate change yet, so
Hilarious. Actually, at that point, they did. They had like
oh,
weather
that's true.
control systems all around Earth. So
Everyone gets 4 seasons if you want it or not.
whether you want it or not, yeah, you could be smack dab on the equator. You're getting snow.
I think also an important thing I kind of glossed over is we learned that Vina is a survivor from that Columbia crash,
Yes.
not an 18-year-old.
Yes.
So it gets a little less weird because of that. So yeah, they're in the countryside, and they're trying to do this as kind of like a reset where it's a little bit more peaceful to get them to fall in love. Um, and then they switch it from really kind of at her behest. I feel like, given the dialogue, how it works out, to a more hedonistic one,
Mm-hmm.
where this is the Orion part that you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she ends up in green.
Because she's trying to fully entice him.
Yeah, exactly. Um, the Enterprise, they're like, okay, instead of using this giant laser phaser thing that we will never see in Star Trek again, we'll beam down there into the caverns, and only the women get through.
And what I found was interesting from this scene, and I have to point out Spock from this scene. He shows another emotional outburst, and he's just like, the women. Like,
Yeah, he is.
I was like, once again, 60s versus now. Now you would have probably had Spike be like, what happened to Una? Commander Una and the yeoman.
Yeah, a little bit more objective, but
Yeah,
yeah, he goes a little bit insane for a little bit. And it was like, the women, where are the women? Let's tear up the countryside. We gotta find the women.
and then when you get onto the planet with the women being there, they're just like, "Oh, okay, great. I guess you didn't find this woman that we have for you enticing. So let me get you to try to procreate with the yeoman or the woman that you call number one. Oh, and we can tell that number one has had sexual fantasies about you. Like what?
They
Dang."
in the plot points I've written, they absolutely blow up both their spots. Like that was if the roles were reversed and I was in a room that I've been forced into with a woman that I was attracted to, and someone was like, "And this man right here, the things he wants to do to you," I'd be like, "Oh my god, please stop talking, please stop talking,
thank you
please stop talking."
for throwing out stuff that I have fantasized about. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. It's not
it's
weird
like
between us at all after this. At all.
I'd be so embarrassed. I'd just be like, "Oh, where's that phaser? Where's that phaser? I'm gonna,
But and
I'm
so
gonna put this dude down."
this is the crazy thing about the characteristics of like how we know Pike and Una now versus the 60 versions of them, because it's like I would imagine that Una doesn't have like any type of sexual feelings for Pike. Um, she probably has a certain level of respect for him, and probably had the occasional dream or two, like we all do, where it's involuntary, not really looked at him like that, but it's just like a dream that just so happened to happen. And it's just like, what the hell? Where the hell did that come from?
Well,
Uh,
keep in mind, this is also very early on, so it could have been just that initial,
it,
like, I'm working with him. Like,
I
yeah,
mean, that could
you
be
know,
true.
it's
We
like
don't
the,
know how early this is, like, because it could have been like this was like their third or fourth mission.
yeah, and it's kind of like, well, I don't know what my relationship's going to be with this person, so any possibilities are open
And that's true. I
right
give you that.
now. So,
Oh,
like, I didn't,
oh, go ahead.
yeah, I didn't read that much into that she had some fantasies potentially about him because it's kind of like the new girl at school, right? Like, oh, what are all the possibilities here? Is this on the table? Is that on the table? Is sex on the table? Like, what's going on? And then you start to realize, like, oh, okay, we're just gonna be homies or whatever. Like, that's kind of what I thought about it.
Yeah, but I thought it was messed up that they used Una in this situation and not the yeoman, who they shown since the beginning of this episode that there were something there. You
Wait, I'm not.
with the yeoman, like the first time that they showed the yeoman on the Enterprise, and like
Oh,
their interaction seemed it did seem contentious, but also like that
yeah. What
there's
did they
more
say about
there.
her? She has the stronger female drive or something like
I
that.
think
They
they
said
did
about
say that.
her.
I think they did say something like that. Yes, yes.
Holy smokes!
But
Incredible
also
sexist.
another thing I wanted to point out is that they did not say anything about her. What we know now is her augmented uh, um, species or her augmented abilities from her being what's the name of her people again? I
The
can't think of it.
Allurians.
The Allurians, yeah. They didn't point that out, which I mean, yeah, this is early, so this wasn't something that they had
Yeah, yeah,
created as far as writers are concerned.
yeah. It's an interesting thing for them to hold back if that was something that was actually known back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, uh, yeah. I would hate the way they would have talked about that in relation to having
Hmm.
relations. But anywho, um,
And then
yeah.
well,
So
don't they learn that that's when Pike learns that Oh no, no, no. That's probably a little bit. I'm probably jumping ahead. My apologies.
Yeah, yeah. I'm moving through it because, like I said, we've talked about this longer than either of us had expected. Um, so Pike tries to fight back with hate. They try to punish more people. Spock is on the ship and is like, "All right, we're gonna get up out of here. This is wild.
Oh
I'm ready
yeah,
to go."
Spock is
And
like,
all
we
the
need to
systems
get the
fail.
fudge up out of here.
We are leaving. Starfleet is a promise, and the promise is that I get to live. So I'm going to go.
He's like, for the safety of the crew, we are getting the heck out of here. And then
Yeah,
they shut down
very,
every system on the Enterprise.
yeah, very strange. Pike captures a Telosian and starts to choke him, basically.
Yes, yes. And I put in my notes, Pike is willing to kill. Like,
Well, they are in like a life-threatening, ship-threatening situation. Like Pike is getting pushed to his limits in this episode,
that is true.
in my opinion. And it's a younger Pike than we've seen
Hmm.
before. So I'm like, it didn't shock me that he was like, he also is trying to break the illusions, and it's kind of like the only way I can get them to break these illusions is with lethality.
Yeah,
So
he's trying to find that way to break this illusion. So he's trying to go with the most primitive emotion, the easiest primitive emotion for him to convey at that point, which would be anger or violent tendencies.
I mean, how would we be if we were faced with captivity and slavery,
The
and the only
exact
way out
same way.
is,
The
yeah,
exact same way.
I'm not tapping into love as a
Not at
primitive
all.
emotion to get out of
Not
that.
at all.
The Telosians download like all their data, and Pike grabs the phasers and is starting to like work through it. Like the phasers actually work, so he puts one to the dude's head and is like, "I bet if I pull this trigger,
You would die.
yeah, exactly, it'd be over for you." And then they show that, oh, we actually blasted through the window earlier. Um, And then there's a moment where they're working their way out of the place, and they get out of there, and they realize they blasted through the doors earlier. They blasted
Hmm.
through the doors, but didn't destroy the elevator. Which,
Yes. I wonder how the elevator
anyhow,
still worked. Yes.
elevator, so
try
amazing.
try not to think about it. Try not to think about it.
Elevator is the real MVP. Um, so all the phasers are working. Pike actually offers to stay with Vina to get his crew out of there. Una's like, well, that's not acceptable, so she starts to overload a phaser, which I'm glad overloading a phaser is in episode 1, because it doesn't happen enough in
but
Star Trek.
but that also showed to me also that Una was a G, and she's
Hmm.
like, "Look, if he ain't coming with us, we all ain't leaving. All right."
We leave victorious or we don't leave. Starfleet is a promise, and the promise is we leave victorious or we don't leave. Anyways.
What is Starfleet?
Yeah, exactly. In my notes, I say basically because slavery is uncool, the Telosians think the humans are unfit to continue their survival,
I
and that's what
believe
they were
their
trying to do.
I believe their exact verbiage was that their level of hatred towards captivity makes them unviable.
Right. Which, yeah.
I was like, I don't know any species that's just like okay with captivity.
Who's just cool with it? I think you can make an argument for early Kelpians, maybe.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes, the Kelpians, but but that was after years of like, and granted, like the Kelpians was also a another rendition of how slavery was in real life. Like they put them in
yeah.
conditions that put them in a mode of being subjected, and they not necessarily are cool with it, but this is just how life has always been. So it's
Right.
kind of hard to
Right.
break from that.
But yeah, I don't know who they thought it. This is gonna sound terrible, but I'm like, okay, I get how you guys ended up in a war that you almost got wiped out in. If you think you can just do this to people,
Yeah, yeah.
and there's only like 4 of you left, like I totally get it, totally understand it. Um, Powers restored on the Enterprise. Una and the Yeoman beam up. Um, and then they reveal why Vina can't leave. It's because she's horribly deformed because they put her back together after the crash
And didn't have
and
a
didn't know.
reference.
So, why does that mean she has to stay?
Um, it doesn't necessarily mean that she has to stay, but from what they were stating was like if she left the planet, she wouldn't have the image of her being this young, beautiful woman. She would go back to looking like that reverted state. And she didn't want that to be the thing because to her there's no way that she could be fixed. The only way that she could be fixed is by staying on this planet where they give her the illusion of her being this young, vibrant woman that wasn't like almost killed, and then they had to piece them back together where she has like, from the lack of a better term, a hunchback.
That's basically all it is that her face is kind of messed up and
Uh-huh.
she has a hunchback. So, obviously, the writers back in the 60s had no clue. But there was an episode of Strange New Worlds where they had a thing that was going to
Mm-hmm.
give Gamble new eyeballs if
Mm-hmm.
Gamble hadn't already been unalived.
Uh,
Is there anything that actually happened to her that a doctor on that ship can't fix?
as we know of the medical technology as of right now, yes, there could have been a possibility that the chief medical officer could have reconstructed her to look way better than what she currently does. So yes, but at this time in Star Trek's infancy, that wasn't something that they knew was a thing. So they had to write it in a way to where she was practically stuck on that world.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. It's just weird watching it after everything we've seen happen, which
Yeah,
also includes people being reconstituted via transporter.
yeah, yeah. I'm
That is
I'm
that is
trying to
just
make
like
sure I have that mode in my head. Like a lot of this stuff hasn't been realized, so we can't say that that was something that could have been done because at this point, as the even the writers know it, none of this technology that we see in the future has been created or exists.
I know, but it's still weird to me that like one, it's weird to me that it's like, ooh, you fugly. Yeah, you should stay on the planet. You wouldn't
I
find
was trying not to go
any
there. I
acceptance.
was trying not to go there, but you did.
No one will accept you in human culture. So yeah, you need to stay here with the mind manipulators.
not
Is a
not
weird thing
only
to me.
not only do we need to keep you exiled on this planet, but we're gonna throw up a buoy that says that this planet is off limits to anybody coming in this area.
And institute capital punishment. I'm like,
Yes.
dang, she ain't that pug fugly. We gotta keep all the human race away from you
Look, Patrick,
specifically.
Patrick, if you only knew. If you didn't see her. You didn't see her, I did. Patrick, if you only knew.
There we go, right? And then it goes back to like, first off, that's not disqualifying for you to rejoin the human race.
Yes.
Secondly, also, if it's that disqualifying for your own personal choice, which I think makes it a little bit more right, at least, where she's like, no, I got this disability and this is the treatment I want for it, which I'm like, okay, that's cool.
I feel like this is your for life
Seems
moment.
like we probably should have played it, to be honest with you. I didn't think I was going to speak this forcefully on it, otherwise, I would have told you before the show. But also, fallback, I think Starfleet Medical could have been like, oh, okay, well, I get that they did this, but we got all these other corrective surgeries. So,
Yeah.
yeah, like,
I'm pretty sure it would have took multiple surgeries. But I do believe they could have made her back to look how she would have originally looked at around that time.
Do you want to play There Are Four Lights now, even though it's like retroactively?
I think the moment has already.
Okay. But yeah, I was, by the end of the episode, I was kind of like, oh, so she has a disability. That means she needs to stay with the people that are kind of enslaving her and wanted her to, like, be Eve to somebody's Adam? Okay, well, all right, well. And of course, later, we're going to bring Pike back here to live out his days, so.
The funny thing about this is that I was not expecting for you to have lean heavy on this one part. But also at the same time, like, me knowing you, I should have known that you would. Like, I really should have caught that. I really should have.
Oh, no, yeah, this one, like, sent up so many red flags. I just would have been like, I don't know what I would have done differently if I was the, like, captain in the situation,
Yeah.
but, like, part of it, like, it would have been a longer conversation than just being like, and you'll restore her beauty, right? And then give her a fake me that she can have fun with. What? No, get on the ship.
A lot of this is so wrong. A lot of, as you're talking about, I was like, this sounds so wrong on so many levels.
So many levels. Anywho, Pike finds his resolve after this mission. This has restored his ability to be a good captain. And the yeoman asks a terrible question at the end of the episode.
I was kind of curious myself, if I'm being honest.
No, it does not matter. Okay, all of this is awful.
Who would you have chosen? And Una was like immediately, yeoman.
Get off the bridge. Yeah, I would have done the same thing.
Because the doctor is like, even Una's like, I do not want that question answered at all.
And then the doctor comes up and asks it again.
Like, Adam and Eve? Is they referred to what I'm referred to? Hey, as his boy, as we have just learned, like this is his boy. They've known each other for a while.
They're on the bridge.
You would have even been like, Adam and Eve? Like, you would have done it. You wouldn't have done it in earshot of everybody, but you'd been like, lead on to like, Adam and Eve? What the hell happened down on that planet?
Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. I'm just like, I have no idea what's happening. And Pike's response is basically like, oh, and all ship's doctors are dirty old men.
Man.
And I'm like, wait till you meet Mbenga.
Man. Shut. Damn right.
Like, because I don't think Mbenga's done anything like sexual or anything like that. But it's like I don't think you're gonna think Mbenga's a dirty old man. You're gonna think he's a dangerous MF.
So wrapping up, I will point out though that I do like the remastered graphics.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of hero shots of the Enterprise.
Yes, and thinking back to how the original graphics looked, it is definitely better, but it is kind of jarring at the same time going to the scenes and then to like this updated CGI.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to go away. I think they've remastered all the episodes where the Star Trek, the Enterprise is going to look about 2004, 2005 graphics, and then everything else is going to be 60s. Yeah.
So, getting to the end of this, and this is something that
can I note one more thing?
No, go ahead.
I watched the end credits, and it ended with a Desilu production, which, shout out to I Love Lucy. We would not have Star Trek without Desilu Productions.
That is interesting. I'm glad you pointed that out.
And technically, if we want to do Yeah, technically we can't do a whole Star Trek rewatch without watching all of everything that Lucille Ball was in. No, I'm joking.
Hilarious. So wrapping things up, we're gonna unpopular sports. We're gonna do something a little bit differently. So I know when we do the recaps of like Strange New Worlds that we've done like a rating of 1 to 10. But me and Patrick were talking about this offline, and we thought it would we would do the rewatchings a disservice if we did it on like a 1 through 10, because especially with TOS, it was the 60s. Pacing is different.
There's a lot of
Uh,
sexism,
a crap ton of sexism,
a lack of black
a
people.
lack of black people. There's a lot of things that's different from 60s television to what it is now. So it would be wrong of us, or as we feel it would be wrong of us, to do a rating system of 1 through 10. So we've decided to have a different type of rating system just for the rewatches. And we kept them in a Star Trek style format. So if the episode was great, we're going to state that you can watch this episode with no sit the hall required. If the episode was good, we're gonna state, yeah, you might want to watch this episode with some synthahol. It's kind of required to watch this episode, just a little bit. You know, synthahol can't get you there, but you know, at least take a little bit of the edge off. If the episode is mid, you're gonna need some Chateau Picard to drink with with this episode. Like, in order to get past this, you got to need a little bit something to get past this episode, because it's not terrible. It's not great either. And if the episode is not great, you're gonna want to drink a little bit of ramen ale with this. No, take that back. You're gonna probably need a little bit more than just a little ramen ale. You're probably gonna need the whole bottle. And then if the episode is just terrible, straight, complete and other, we're well past the hour mark. Straight ass is what I would say. You're gonna need to drink down some blood wine with this one. Like, in order to get past this episode, this is definitely a blood wine episode. So with those ratings now being pointed out, Patrick, what do you give this episode? Oh, Patrick? Patrick, you there? Oh no, I think we lost Patrick, which is crazy. We normally haven't had an issue like this before. So I'll see if I can get Patrick back uh, within this episode. But I I do want to point out as,
Is that better?
oh yeah, yeah, now I can hear you.
Shoot. Okay. I literally walked into my kitchen and and the Wi-Fi totally like
Glitched
I'm
out.
not sure what happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that normally
Yeah.
happens.
Right at the climactic moment, which is unfortunate.
Okay, so what, with the rating system now pointed out, what do you give this episode?
Oh boy. Um, I'm gonna give this a need synthahol. There were parts of this
Yeah.
episode. Well, this is the curve that I think we're gonna run up to on TOS a
Yes.
lot. Like, there were parts of this episode where I was like, "This is a great episode of Star Trek. I'm enjoying this."
Yes.
Even with the '60s visuals, I like the '60s visuals and all that stuff. Like, it was just like really good. And then like the sexism hits, and more
Yes.
sexism hits, and then some
Yes.
ableism gets in there, and I'm
Yes.
just like, oh, holy smokes. It's weird because in Strange New Worlds, our top score is reserved for episodes we watch over and over again, which
Mm-hmm.
I would totally, obviously, watch this episode over and over again. But
I would
yeah,
too.
like, I, then all the isms work in, and I can't give it a top score. So I'm gonna just go like, I just need Synthahol for this.
Which I mean, that's fair. That's fair because from production standard, from a writing standard, from like this being the very first episode that was created to create this universe, they actually did a really good job, in my opinion. And it's it, we discovered that the higher ups, when they showed them this pilot, their main gripe was that there's not enough action within this episode, which, okay, yeah, I get it. But Gene Roddenberry was trying to go a different route. It wasn't all about the action. It was all about how this universe is and the evolution of humans at this point. Granted, the sexism does throw you out of that a lot. So it's almost like, how much have we really involved when you have all this sexism in there? But I would have to agree with you. I'm gonna have to give this a rating of Set the Hall required. Uh, it's not necessarily it's not necessarily terrible to the point that you don't want to watch it again because it actually has some really good aspects. But the sexism does throw you out of it.
Yeah, and the spice of ableism at the end of it is just like, yeah,
Ugh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I would be remiss to not point out our other soundbite that we just created for this rating system.
Less talk, more synthahol.
that's what happened. Both you and I thought there was going to be less talk in this episode, and we went way
And
longer.
we went 2 hours like we normally do. So so we can never say that. Oh, this should be a little bit quicker. No, no. I when we get into the breakdowns and like talking about it, we do get very into the analysis of the episode. So I don't think we're ever gonna have like really a short episode.
I I'm gonna push back because I think there's gonna be some episodes of TOS where there's a lot of runtime, but there's not a lot that happens. Like this had a lot of stuff happening in it, and I just don't. There's one in particular where they go back to like a 1930s town planet with
Mm-hmm.
like kids and stuff, and there's just like nothing happens in that episode for long stretches of time, and I think we're gonna get something where it can be a shorter. This just wasn't one of them.
Yeah, but I also think that it's going to be probably like one long episode of There Are Four Lights. So, but like, no, this one scene didn't almost break me. The whole episode almost broke me.
It's just a rant for an hour and a half, and I just sit here and listen. I'm like, like you do the recap within the rant. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It's yeah. This is going to be an interesting one.
well, I'm already enjoying the fact that we're doing this rewatch. This this made me feel better about this whole idea. At least watching this particular episode, probably gonna feel different once we get into those episodes like that you pointed out. That's more of a slog to get through. Um, but I feel like we will make these rewatches more enjoyable. If I'm being honest.
I agree.
But anything else you wanted to point out before we signed off?
Yeah, no. Sorry for the internet glitch earlier. I think you can just edit that out when
Eh,
these are
technical difficulties
proper
happen.
episodes. Yeah, but otherwise, no, I don't have anything else. I'm glad to have Star Trek, and this happened way before I was born, and it just shows how durable the series is. It got two pilots.
Hmm.
I Love Lucy is why I was here. What was her husband's name? Ricky Ricardo. Like,
Ricky. Hmm.
yeah, like it's just kind of like, wow, it's amazing that we have this. It feels like, knock on wood, we're going to have this franchise for a long time to come, even though it's already been around for a long time. This episode and the story behind it kind of shows, why that is.
I mean, I truly hope so. I mean, we got other series coming out with the Starfleet series, which I hope makes the new people that now own Paramount want to spin off more and possibly do a early Kirk series. I'm really hoping for that too because I truly love that actor and a lot of the actors that they pointed out that would be part of the his crew. So I would truly love for them to move forward with that. But I mean, we shall see.
We shall see.
But with that, of course, we sign off with a wonderful quote from Jean Luc Picard. And I truly appreciate everyone for joining us with this new series. Um, let us know how we can make things better. Please like, comment, subscribe. And we will end the episode with this Jean Luc Picard quote.
You know, there are some words I've known since I was a schoolboy. But the first link the chain is forged, the first speech censured, the first thought forbidden, the first freedom denied, chains us all irrevocably. Those words were uttered by Judge Aaron Satie as wisdom and warning.
Thank you all for joining us. Have a wonderful and beautiful week.